Um, well, cool. I'm gonna bend down here. Um, thanks for joining us. So this is a graduate class. We just have 7 students in it. It's a sales and sponsorship class. And I've just kind of been following you through the years with getting started. I think like even with the Hawks, like it was kind of a blip. You just were there for maybe like 6 months or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which I was kind of trying to tell them, like you can climb the career ladder pretty quickly and things change. So I think I wanted them to know. I think you're even like younger than everybody in this room. So I'd love for you to maybe just talk about your experience with the job hunt and what you do on a daily basis, but especially in like I guess the sales arena. But yeah, we just want to hear your story in the sport industry. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. So I'm young. I'm 22 years old, so I got kind of started out in the sports world early. Thankful for that. But no, I accepted a position with the Atlanta Falcons in March of 2021. So started down there, moved down to Atlanta. Started to get going. It was a long process, especially going through COVID. But kind of one of the things that just kind of kept me on the right track was being the perfect amount of annoying to your manager, your hiring manager, to the point where they think you're a little bit crazy, but the second that you get in and you perform, it's like, all right, this guy was nudging me for a reason. He was actually telling me that, hey, listen, if you get me in the door, then I can prove myself. And that's kind of one of the biggest things that stood out when I was going through the process, was just always being that one guy who was in their ear, just kind of taking that initiative. So for the Falcons, I was inside sales rep. So pretty much what we did is we brought all of new business in. So we did a bunch of not really cold calling, but we got all these campaigns full of like single game buyers. So for instance, all of our companies have a partnership with Ticketmasters, so that whenever somebody scans into the building, we get all of their information. From there, we create a list of campaigns and we reach out to them individually and try and sell them season ticket packages. That's something that I was very successful with. One of it was because we were coming back from COVID, we were going full capacity. So that was something that really kind of was on my side with that, but also just the ability to get people back in the building and just get them excited about sports. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is like working in the sports industry is probably one of the most relaxed industries ever. And I love it because everyone's just cool. Everyone wants to have a good conversation, and it's there's times to be professional, but at the same time, it's mostly just casual, and that's something that I've enjoyed about it. So yeah, after 6 months at the Falcons, I've done really well with revenue. I was top of my team, stuff like that, and I saw an open position up in Canada for an account executive for MLSE, which those of you guys who don't know, they're the largest sports and entertainment industry in North America. So definitely kind of a big jump. So I went from managing one team of tickets to managing 3 teams. So now I oversee the Toronto Raptors, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Toronto Football Club. But we also own, I think, 10 other teams up in Ontario. So it's one of those things where I work with those divisions specifically. But kind of one of the biggest things that we're focused on right now in the sports industry is just getting back to full capacity and just reassuring all of our clients. Because up here, season tickets are very, very hard to get because the sports industry is so renowned up here and it's so dedicated, full of fans. So a lot of our clients are large corporations in the area that allocate their tickets out to clients, their clients. So it's kind of a lot of managing, one, with CEOs, finance directors of companies, as well as the fund squad. So that's kind of something that I deal with, is I'm on the phone every day with just people from different corporations, one, managing their ticket plans, managing their finances, but also managing how they get their seats and stuff like that, because we have a lot of VIP members up here in Canada, especially for like the Raptors and the Leafs, which is awesome, especially since everything's starting to get ramped up. But no, I'm new to the sports industry. I can tell you what I know. But other than that, I think the biggest thing is just to have like a forward thinking mindset and just, like I said, be that pester in their ear. that's the job that you want to get, make it clear to them that, hey, I want to be there. And if you can give me a chance to get my foot in the door, I'll prove it. And that's something that I just recommend to each and every one of you to just kind of make a point of. And LinkedIn was my best friend. Always just keep an updated LinkedIn profile, slide into everybody's DMs, just try and get on the phone with them. I think that's one of the biggest things is if you can get face to face, even on a Zoom call with them and present yourself well, it's just going to take you so much further as opposed to just sending your resume or do something like that. Because I feel like the best type of interaction that can benefit you the most is going to be that face to face, especially since you guys are looking to go into the sales and sponsorship side of it. So kind of open it up for anybody questions. If anybody has any questions. Lovely.
I have one. I know you spoke about talking about, I guess being in the Atlanta market and then being mostly based in Canada, talking about like a lot of the stuff in Toronto now. What is the biggest difference with how like you have to go about selling within those two markets?
So in Atlanta, I worked for the Atlanta Falcons, and as anybody that knows sports, they suck. So I think the biggest thing is just trying to convince them that, hey, listen, like, although the team is not good, you're going for that experience. You're going to be in that environment with all of those fans. You're going to have an amazing time. And that's something that you want to share with the people that you go with. And it was more of convincing them that side as opposed to up here. It's more of just managing my clients because I don't really have to convince people, hey, you sure you don't want to go to this Leafs game? It's like, no, like they're going to be at every single Maple Leafs game they can. So it's just a difference as between managing your clients and kind of keeping them happy as opposed to trying to convince them to go back into that environment, especially when they're a little bit skeptical. But I would say starting out where you do have to convince them and do a little bit of that selling and cold calling, it's going to make you an overall better salesman. Because that way, if you do ever encounter those types of situations in the future, it's something that you can just pick up like that and have no problem dealing with.
Sean, can you list those teams again that you man? Is it MLSE?
Yeah, so Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, they're a partnership corporation. But the teams that I oversee are the Toronto Raptors, Toronto Maple Leafs, and then the Toronto Football Club. So MLS, NBA, and NHL. And it comes with.
I have a question. Do you work on commissions? Do you have a quota that you have to get to, or what's your I guess expectations for?
Yeah. So at the Falcons, we kind of had a set quota where we wanted to make at least probably 80 to 100 calls a day. Outbound, regardless of whether people were picking up. Talk time was kind of one of the bigger things, is if you could get the clients on the phone, get them showing that was kind of something that it stood out to you, especially when you're dealing with the type of people that we're calling, not really expecting our call. So we got paid $10 an hour working for the Falcons. And then what it did is, so we dealt with PSLs. I don't know if y'all have talked about personal seat licenses. So what it is it's pretty much as you are renting out a seat of the stadium. So you pay that on top of your season ticket fee. So what it was is they had to make a deposit of 10% of their PSL. And I got 7.5% commission off of whatever their deposit was. And we had deposits as low as $50 and we had deposits as high as $10,000. So it kind of was up to you whether or not you wanted to sell those club level seats, which were a little bit harder to sell and make a lot of money, or if you wanted to focus on the 300 level seats and sell a lot of them and then make your money that way. But what I found was I went for the club seats, and that's something that I had a lot of success with, is just doing premium sales, and it paid off. So, but up here, I work salary now, with bonuses based on my renewal rate, which it's pretty easy because our renewal rate is 99.9%. So as long as I can just keep the steady flow of my clients coming in, I'm going to get my bonus. And that's kind of one of the things is like, yeah, like your foot in the door in sports might suck. And that's what I'm going to tell you is like the first 6 months to a year in the sports industry, you're just going to have to grind. And it's not going to be fun all the time. It's going to come with great perks, but it's also going to come with a lot of hard work, a lot of late nights. But once you make it past that first year, first 6 months, it is free flowing from there. And it is nothing but moving upwards. Like I was promoted from an inside sales rep. I passed the coordinator stage and went straight to the executive in 6 months. So it's one of those things where you put your mind to it, you can do it, especially now is the time because everywhere is hiring. Every single sports company is hiring. I see it all the time. And if it's something that if you want to have a one-on-one with me, I'd be happy to kind of sit down, maybe look at a resume or something like that, or just give you any advice going into an interview or something like that. So I'm always happy to help. I'll give Troy my card so you guys can reach out in the future. But no, definitely, like, I'm here to help and everything. But like I said, it's hard to get your foot in the door in sports. One of the hardest industries to get into, but if you can get in, you're going to be set.
Cool, thanks, Sean.
I kind of have a question about, I guess, like the success of like your sales during that. So you're talking about like selling your PSLs and all that, specifically the bubble seats. To be considered like, I guess, successful like in selling those, like what's the percentage of like calls that you get on?
So I mean, obviously, the more calls you make, the higher of a chance that you're going to get someone on the phone that's going to buy it. So honestly, sales comes in waves. So you're going to have that wave where you're on a roll, you're making multiple sales a day, but then you're going to have that lull where you go down and you're going to go a week or 2 weeks without sales. And the biggest thing during that is just keeping the right mindset, because the second that you let your mind slip in sales is the second that you don't sell anything. Because if you get on the phone and you lose all confidence, you're like, I haven't sold something in 2 weeks. It just sucks. You're going to do nothing but go downhill. And sales is one of the biggest jobs that I'd say having the right mindset impacts how much money you make. Like, it really does. Like, you have to be such a forward thinking person, and caffeine helps. So.
Sean, I had a question about PSLs as well. Like if somebody has a PSL and for an entire season, and then maybe they like want to move up a section or like get a better section.
Yeah.
Is that difficult, or do they have to like? It's just, I know it's easier just to review that same seat. Is it difficult to do that?
So yeah, it is a big process, especially up here when people have had their seats since 1970, 1960. So yeah, it's a big process. You have to go through the whole PSL selling, and it's like selling a house, because some of the cheapest PSLs we have, $100,000. So, and it's ridiculous, and that's before season ticket price. So we have corporations paying upwards of $500,000 a season, just for like row 3 Raptors tickets. So I think one of the biggest things is like PSLs are big deals, and you got to think of it as like a mortgage on a home. And nobody really realizes that, but it's something that people invest in over the years. And then it pays off, and then they do have the ability to resell that. So it's something that you make a certain percentage of a deposit each season that you choose to come back, or you can just pay it off in full. And then that kind of gives you the rights to every event that comes through the stadium, since what you're doing essentially is you're renting a little piece of that stadium. So you have pre-sale access to pretty much every event that comes through the stadium. They're not going to offer you the tickets, but they're going to give you the base price value of that ticket, since technically that is your little square of the stadium.
That's great. That's good. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So
Yeah.
Atlanta to Toronto is a big jump. So what motivated you to go to Toronto? Was it the job position, or was it just try something new, or because you had 3 franchises now? Or
I mean, honestly, I was looking at going to the Yankees to be an account executive there. I was talking to the manager there, and then I saw this position posted. And it's kind of rare to see a position like this in the company, and especially being from the States, and I have dual citizenship in Canada, but it just kind of saw it and it fit, and I just put all my eggs in one basket and kind of took a leap of faith. And I mean, luckily I made it, but if not, I had a backup plan. But it's kind of one of those things where if you just see something, you just kind of shoot for it. And that was kind of one of the biggest things is one, I mean, I had so much fun in Atlanta. I got everything out of it. I mean, I was technically still in college while I was working for the Falcons. So you can imagine how much fun I was having in Atlanta. Yeah. But no, it's been an awesome change. I've been in Toronto for a little more than a month now, and it's ridiculous. It's so much fun. Everyone's so nice. Like, the stigma is true. Like, Canadians are nice. But no, yeah, I loved it. I mean, one is more money, but also just the experience for working for 3 teams as opposed to 1, and working for 3 very, very large corporations. So
Hey, Sean, where did you had mentioned you saw this posted? What advice, like, can you give them for searching for a job? Is there a site that you always follow? It's like really reliable.
Workday. So Workday is
Workday?
yeah, it's very, let me make sure that that's the right place. Cause there's and all they do is post sports jobs.
Okay.
Let me see.
I have not heard of that one before.
Yeah, let me make sure that's right. Okay. I'm trying to think of where.
It wasn't Teamwork Online.
No, Teamwork, that's what it is. Yeah.
Teamwork, okay.
Yep. That I knew something was wrong with that. But yeah, no, I think one of the biggest things is one, go in and apply for the job. And then the second that you do that, go on LinkedIn and find the manager of that department or find somebody with some status there. And just shoot them a message. Be like, hey, listen, I just applied to this position. I'd love to sit down, learn more about the opportunity, but also give you the opportunity to learn a little bit more about me. And people love that because it doesn't happen often. Not a lot of people have the guts to just message people like that. So it immediately sets you apart, and that's when they're going to take the stack of 5,000 resumes and make it a stack of 50 resumes, as opposed to that, just because they heard your name somewhere else. So that's one of the biggest things, is just be that annoying person. Like, you have to be. And like, that's what I talked about on our team with the Falcons. Like, they hired a team of 10, and we all talked about just how many times we messaged our manager, how many times we called him saying, hey, any update? How can we speed this up? Like, is there anything that I can do on my part? And just kind of showing them that you're ready, but you're not like overbearing. And there's like a fine balance of being annoying and being persistent. So just kind of looking for that and just kind of pursuing that. That's kind of one of the biggest things that helped me stand out. So that when you go into an interview and people have already heard of your name before, as opposed to just seeing your name on a resume, it just looks better.
Absolutely.
So I hate to cut it short, but I currently have, I'll give you an idea of my day, because I have yesterday all day, we currently had a hold of 80 members online, just on hold, because one, we haven't announced to anybody what our capacity standards could be, because we're still waiting to hear back from the government. So a big thing that I'm dealing with on my day-to-day basis now is just dealing with angry clients who don't have their tickets to games because they need to send them out to their clients.
Yeah.
So I'm just talking to CEOs and like directors of finance, and just all the big head honchos are just, honestly, they're shitting a brick on my head, and I'm just taking it as it comes. So you just, literally, like, my whole team, like, I'll FaceTime my boss at like 2:30 and he's already got a drink in his hand, and we're like, oh, it's that time of the season, so we gotta get through it, and then we're loving it. So
it just sounds like you're having fun, working, doing what you do. So that's really good to see.
Oh, and you get perks, like you get like a game. I got a game worn Falcons helmet. Like,
nice. Oh,
yeah,
I'm gonna look him up. 68.
I know. I don't even know who that is.
Well, thank you, Sean. This is so beneficial, and hopefully we want to do this, every year, every semester, have you on, talk to our seniors and grad students. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. And feel free to send them out my email address, which is in my signature. So if anybody wants to reach out, do one-on-one, I'm always down for that. I'm a chill person, as you can tell, so easy to talk to. But yeah, I'm happy to help in any way possible. So
awesome. Well, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Awesome. No problem, guys. Hey, it was great talking with you guys. All right.